Hey everybody, this is Mr. McKee again with Net 125. Today I'll be going over Packet Tracer 10.1.4, which is Configure Initial Router Settings. Alright, if you notice on the Packet Tracer desktop, I'm going to make these icons a little bit bigger. Alright, you just got PCA and you got one router, router 1. Alright. So in this activity, you will perform basic router configuration tasks. You will secure access to the CLI and console port using encrypted and plain text passwords. You will also configure messages for users who are logging into the router. These banners warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. Finally, you will verify and save your running config. Alright, so first thing you need to do is go down to connections and grab your console cable. Click PCA, notice RS-232, drag that over to and click R1 and connect it to the console. Notice we get the little black circles, so we got a electrical connection. Alright, so click PCA, desktop and terminal. Make this a little bit bigger. Alright, so default settings is fine. Whoops. Okay. Notice we are connected because I get some output from the CLI. Alright, let's see. Okay, and enter. You're now able to configure R1. Alright, so we're there. We're at step 2. Enter privileged mode and examine the current configuration. You can access all the router commands from privileged exec mode. However, because many of the privileged commands configure operating parameters, privileged access should be password protected to prevent unauthorized use. Enter privileged exec mode by entering the enable command. So let's do enable. Alright, notice we're at the hashtag. Alright, notice the prompt changed in the configuration to reflect privileged exec mode. Enter the show running config. So show run. Alright. Notice starts about right here. We've got a version 15.1. My interfaces and so on. Alright, what is the router's host name? Well, it's right there. Alright, how many fast Ethernet interfaces does the router have? If you scroll down, alright, notice it has one there, one there, one there. Alright, how many gigabit interfaces does the router have? Alright, so one there, one there. I believe that's all. How many serial interfaces does the router have? Right there. What is the range of values for the virtual terminal or virtual telnet? Alright, so we got line VDY 04. Alright, so just let's see. So display the current contents of NVRAM. Alright, show startup. Alright, so why is it telling us that? Well, think back. We haven't saved anything yet. Alright, so that's probably why. Configure and verify the initial router configuration. To configure parameters on the router, you may be required to move between the various configuration modes. Notice how the prompt changes as you navigate through the iOS configuration modes. Alright, I'm in privileged exec right now. Configure the initial settings on R1. Alright, if you have difficulty remembering the commands, refer to the content for this topic. The commands are the same as you configured on a switch. Alright, so Configure R1 as the host name. All right. So config terminal. All right, host name is R1. All right, configure message of the day. Banner and message of the day. Do a hashtag. And I'm going to copy this. Copy. Paste. All right, remember message of the day beginning your delimiter and your ending delimiter. You need those. All right. Apparently it liked that. Encrypt all plain text passwords. So service password encryption. All right. Use the following passwords: privilege exec. Privilege exec unencrypted Cisco. Privilege exec encrypted. It's a secret. Console let me in. All right, so this is kind of weird. Privileged exec. All right, so enable. Exit. Enable. Yeah, let's do config t. So enable password Cisco, enable password secret. Enable secret. All right. It's a secret. All right. And then we do a console password. Line console 0. Password is let me in. Log in. All right. So verify the initial settings by viewing the configuration for R1. And do exit, show run. Whoops. Exit, show run. All right. Notice password, plain text passwords are encrypted. Enable secret. All right, encrypted. Enable password is not encrypted, but it's hashed. All right, so line console 0. All right. So verify the initial settings by viewing the configuration for R1. What command did you use? I did a show run, show running config. All right, exit the current console session until you see the following message. All right, notice right there, I exited out. R1 console 0 is now available. All right, so press enter. You should see the following message. Unauthorized access is strictly prohibited. User access verification. All right, password. right. And notice, let me get back. All right. Unauthorized access is strictly prohibited. So there's our message of the day. Why should every router have a message of the day banner? For telling people unauthorized access is strictly prohibited, and also you could give people other messages like IT personnel, network personnel, things like that. Or if you need access, you could let somebody know who holds the keys to the castle, who can give them access. All right. If you are not prompted for a password before reaching the user exec prompt, what line console command did you forget to configure? You guys should remember that. It's the last one I did. Line console 0 password. Let me in, and then I put one more command in there. You guys should be able to figure that out. If you look on Netacad, let's see. Yep, it has it in there. All right. I don't want to give it all away. All right. Enter the passwords necessary to return to the privileged exec mode. Let me in. All right. Enable. What was it? Cisco. Oh. It's a secret. All right, let's see. Why would you enable secret password, allow access to the privileged exec mode, and then enable the password no longer? Why would the enable secret password allow access to the privileged exec mode and the enable password no longer be valid? And what they're talking about is this up here. You put this in first, but then you encrypted it. This would take precedence over this. Right? You'd have to use this now. You couldn't use the Cisco. Alright, if you configure any more passwords on the router, are they displayed in the configuration file as plain text or encrypted form? Alright, so if you do a show run, you should be able to tell, because if I look for all my passwords, would those be in plain text form? There's the console. Should not be. Alright, save the running config file. Save the config file to NVRAM. You have configured the initial settings for R1. Now back up the running config file to NVRAM to ensure that the changes made are not lost if the system is rebooting or loses power. So enable. So copy running config to startup config. All right. What is the shortest unambiguous version of the command? All right, you should see that I did copy running config. You could also do copy running like that. If you do copy rs, it doesn't work. So copy space r space st. All right, that's the quickest way to do that. The shortest unambiguous version of this command. All right. And I guess we can do this too. Optional, save the startup config file to flash. Although you will be learning more about managing the flash storage in the router in later chapters, you may be interested to know that as an added backup procedure, you can save your startup config file to flash. By default, the router still loads the startup configure from NVRAM, but if NVRAM becomes corrupt, you can restore the startup config by copying it over from flash. All right, complete the following steps to save the startup config to flash. All right, so back to privileged exec mode. All right, show flash. All right, Notice we have, there's 3 files in there. Alright, the iOS image is right there, that .bin file, and you can notice right here, that's the model of the router. That K9 shows it's, it lets you do encryption, and SPA.151-4, that shows it's version 15.1. If I scroll up here, see right here, 15.1, that shows that. Alright. Which of these files would you guess was the iOS image I just showed you? Okay. Why do you think this file is the iOS image? Well, I just answered my own question. Alright. Anyways. So if you do copy startup config to flash, config flash, right, destination file, startup config, hit enter. The router prompts you to store the file in flash using the same name in brackets as startup-config. If your answer is yes, then press enter. If not, type the appropriate name and press enter. Use the show flash command. Show flash. Notice now we have a 4th file in there. And that's it. Alright. A lot of the same stuff as a switch, but there's some more little issues in there, little things in there. But also notice that a lot of times standard router, it might have a couple of gigabit interfaces, a couple of serial interfaces, but now this one has another module in it, which is a fast Ethernet 4 interface module. So if it lets me click on it, yeah. See right there, I'm going to zoom in on it, but that's not entirely normal. Alright. These 2 gigabit interfaces are in there, are built into it. And notice this is a 1941 router. You have one module, which is a serial module with 2 serial interfaces, and you have this other module. Alright. If you click down here on modules, it'll tell you which one it is. It's this one right here. HWIC 4 ESW provides 4 switching ports. Alright, but that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.